Welcome back to JoJo's Bizarre Adventures Anime Review, episode number 23. This I'm reviewing the 16th episode of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Golden Wind, which is also the 129th episode of the series, The Grateful Dead Part 2. And for the first time this season, we actually have more than 3 or 4 chapters adapted for one episode. This one has 7. Yes, 7. Though this one goes from chapters 493 and it stops at the beginning of chapter 500. Yep. This one wraps up the 3-parter involving the train stuff. Yep. And Bruno is the MVP of this episode. But man, this guy the guy does some similar stuff to that of what happened in part 3. Like, okay, he's trying to avoid one of the villains of this episode, Pashi, who's this guy who doesn't have a chin. He looks like a cucumber. Yeah, the guy who's a cucumber head. Yeah, because the guy stands a fishing pole of all things. Though, the episode picks up right where the last episode left off, where you have Bruno and the leader of the Hitmen falling out of a train. And the guy, despite the fact this guy did fall off the train, the guy is barely alive. The guy does die by the end of the episode. Yeah, and the way that Bruno sort of gets him to do that, first he gets caught by the cucumber head's fish hook, and then use his Zipperman ability to remove his hand and get basically him off the train. And the guy's on the verge of death. Eventually, and then it turns into what happened toward the end of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. What happened at the end of Star Wars Crusaders, where you have Jotaro Kujo, where he's hiding from Dio by basically also starting and stopping his own heartbeat. Though it's a slightly different scenario, but it's very similar. Okay, so he's hiding from him, and one way he avoided it, by be hooked by this thing, is by slicing his own heart in half. Lucky enough, he was the guy still had maybe about 2 or 3 minutes left of life left. But lucky enough, right after he got the hook out of there, he's trying to and the thing kind of slows down a bit, the horse moves away, and then he hits the brakes and stops. All of a sudden, and of course he has somehow used Zipros to basically slice himself out to many pieces, but still kept alive. Yeah, thanks to him, despite the fact he didn't remove one of his hands or one of his legs, he's still able to perfectly function fine because, well, it looks like some kind of purple energy kind of acts like a, I don't know, like a cutoff thing, but still keeps him alive. And then once they did that, he just zips everything back up, walks through, beats the guy. And of course, he gets off the train. He gets off the train not the same way the other guy does. The other guy just walks the train with the Turo. It's not revealed until later. And he just uses his zip ability to zip open the train, walk through, and kill the guy. Well, first he uses his hand to sort of try to stop the fishing line to get to his heart. And he uses Zimmerman's ability to take the line, wrap around the guy's neck, and snap his neck. Yes. And he gets the version that he knocks out Trish. He's like, "Where am I?" Yep. That's what she says. Eventually the guy does die after being punched in the head really hard. Yep. And of course the leader of the Hitman dies. And then Trish is shown to where she has a stand ability. He's like, "What are those things? And what's this thing here on the ground?" Yeah, show off her stand ability. It's a weird stand ability. I don't remember what it was, but I remember she has a stand, but I don't remember exactly what the name of the stand was because, like I said before, when I talk about this particular storyline, it's been a while since I've read a good year or two, at least a year, at least a couple years since I've read the actual story. So yeah, there's that. Yeah, and Bruno's like, "Why are they after me? What is all this stuff?" Yeah, she's probably getting an explanation of what the heck stands are. I mean, the viewers know what stands are. I mean, this is only the third one that actually has had stands because stands were introduced in Star Wars Crusaders. And they've been using stands ever since. As a matter of fact, they're actually in the 2 most recent parts. Which I haven't read yet. I'm still only about a good about 30 chapters into part 6 right now. Yep. And then shows off one of the other characters, like one of their hitmen who finds the aftermath of what happened in this episode He gathers a piece of blood, and it's of course Bruno's, and he finds his boss basically a dangled mess, and finds one of his, let's say, his teammates in pieces. That's Bruno's zip ability for you. Yep, and that's where the episode ends. Yeah, and next week's episode is called Babyface. This is gonna be interesting. hmm Yeah, I wonder how they're gonna explain the Stan stuff to Trish. I kind of wish that Karahushi was still around so he can explain Stans a little better to them and explain the whole purpose of the arrow. Yeah, because here's kind of the weird thing about the arrow is that it shows up here at the beginning, like for like one episode, and then like the arrow is never seen again. It's not even mentioned at all. I mean, the arrow first made its first physical appearance in Diamond's Unbreakable. That's how people who weren't born with stand abilities got their stand abilities. In the case of this, you see the arrow for like 2 episodes, and like that's it. The arrow's never seen again, never mentioned. I kind of wish that maybe he would have stuck around. Maybe I will. Now here's kind of the weird thing. Jotaro, the main JoJo in Part 3, he never meets Agorno at all. He never meets him at all. Like he lives he leaves into whatever heck he wants to do. Yeah, that's kind of the weird thing about this one. He never meets this guy. I mean, he's met the JoJo who's technically his uncle in the previous one, and of course is the JoJo for Part 6 is of course his daughter. I'm still curious who the heck the mother is. But he's in 4 parts, which is actually he's the most frequently recurring character out of this entire series. Yeah, and as for Gorno himself, I should point out though, after Golden Wind ends in the manga, this guy never appears again. Yeah, well, he does appear in a few of the video games, but he doesn't appear in the manga again. Well, because they focus on Trish and they focus on Jotaro's daughter in the next one, and then of course by Part 7 it's a reboot. hmm Yep. Otherwise, that's really it for this particular review. I mean, nothing much to say. It's a really good episode. It really wraps up the next part of the whole recurring stuff with Trish, and it wraps up the 3-parter with the train saga, which probably was a lot. Would take up like a lot of chapters in the manga, like a good like almost 20 chapters. Yeah. So otherwise, that's really it for this particular review. I have no other videos for per se. This was the only one I had planned to do today. Tomorrow, I'm probably going to do a review of Case Closed Season 3. I am currently 19 episodes away from finishing the season, so there's a slight possibility I'll do a review tomorrow. Plus, a haul from the Orlando and Tory Comic Con. I'll do my haul video for that because I'm going to that particular con tomorrow. Okay, but do the next review. Bye.